This is one of my favorite people, my mentors, Dean Varun Soni, the first ever Hindu Dean of Religious Studies in America. That's Varun Soni, amazing. He just had a speech at the Baccalaureate Mass at USC. And this is David Belasco, another one of my mentors. He teaches an amazing class called Taking a Leap, entrepreneurship class, where he interviews people. And he interviewed the CEO of Masterclass and recently Lincoln Riley, who's the football coach at USC. So all these people are inspirations to me. I love eating, first of all, but I've grown up going to restaurants my whole life, and every single important event in my life has been at a restaurant. All my birthdays have been surprise events at restaurants, and I've found that all my most exciting events have been at restaurant venues, and I realized that food has been such a big aspect of my life. Food has always been a source of pleasure, a source of comfort, a source of togetherness with me and my friends, with me and my family. And I wanted to write a book that captured that, where I could really spotlight just how special food is in terms of restaurateurs providing that through their restaurants. And I think Fellow's a great example of that, and a lot of restaurants in LA and where I grew up in Los Gatos, where I have had the pleasure of visiting these restaurants when I'm just super hungry and just getting so much satisfaction from the food, from the service, from every single aspect of the restaurant. And my book really spotlights all the special qualities of what a restaurant provides to their customers, and I think it's so important. And the message I'm trying to spread through my book is, let's end food waste, first of all. That's the main message, but also let's respect the food we eat, number one. And also, if you want to be a restaurateur, if you want to be an entrepreneur, follow your dreams, take the leap of faith, and go after it, because you only have one life here on earth, and the only people who could change the status quo are us. So there's no need to try to fit in, because people who try to fit in don't create any buzz, don't create anything that will help change the world. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Tara Elaine Brennan. She's a author in my foreword, and Philip Camino, who is the owner of Fellow, where we're at today for my launch party. He's also on my cover. Please welcome them. I'm very excited to be with both of them today. They've inspired me, and they're amazing people in the restaurant industry, so please welcome them. I'd like both of them to introduce themselves.
I'm Tara Elaine Brennan. I'm an activist with a focus during COVID on homeless veterans in the city of Los Angeles. And simultaneously, I've been working with the Amazon Labor Union in getting them to pass as a union for Amazon. And on the same timeline, in my civic work, I've had the great gift of meeting Jack through a close friend of mine who's known him since he's a little guy, teenager. And when he invited me to be forward on his book, it made sense. And we were able to combine it. I'm very proud of him. And I'm proud to have introduced him to my friend Phil Camino, who's a restaurateur and a businessman that's very well respected in this community, which is distinct. UCLA is not to be questioned. It's
Thank you, Tara.
Number one university in the country, and you're the Michelin guy with the gallery.
Thank you, appreciate that. And thank you, Jack, for having your event here and including me on the cover of your book. Very excited to be hosting the launch party for fine dining here in Westwood today. This is May 21st, 2022. And we're just very, very grateful. Hearts are full of gratitude for your partnership, your thoughtfulness, the way that you included all of these various parties who really in some cosmic way all came together to make this event come to life and this book launch a success. I'm personally very grateful to be involved, be on the cover of the book, and in some small way contribute to the book's success. So thank you so much for including me and including my restaurants, my art gallery, and my friends.
Thank you for that, Phil.
Oh, thank you.
And I will tell you, it was really amazing to watch you throw this party. You, young man, I watched your book happen. I watched you develop this concept, and really, you're very special. You really are. You have a drive and a horse blinder nature that will take you far. And to see you meet a group of very well-respected people and really identify what's unique about each of them, and for you to be so open to service, and then to spend time with that mom and dad today.
Sure.
I mean, one of the things I love about Phil is every time we hang out, I hear about his mom because I ask, and that's a special person.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very unique type. I'm attracted to those types because they tend to do things that are more forward-thinking, and you're one of those guys, and I mean it very sincerely that it is a privilege to see you flourish, and I'm rooting for you, and may we do something cool that's good for the people.
I will say this, I mean, during the course of this project, and as we, had more conversations from the time I met you, which was, months and months ago now, up until today, I have seen like a maturation and a development, and you're almost a more grown-up version of yourself than you were 6 months ago. And I think obviously going through a process like writing a book and publishing a book and launching a book and creating an event like this today, I mean, that's a big endeavor, and it does take, like Tara said, it does take someone who's got that will to succeed. So congratulations on that.
Kiki,
Hey.
tell me your name and your Kiki, like Kiki, private chef.
Who's Kiki? Okay. I'm Kiki Canuto.
Woo!
I'm a private chef. I came from Boston, so I'm originally from the East Coast world. But I moved to LA in 2017, and yeah, I cook for people in their homes. I love the personal interaction of getting to, create menus and like building out people's palates in their comfort of their own home. That's me.
What did you have for after school snack as a kid?
Oh, after school. So I was like my own I was my own chef when I was a kid. So I would pretend I was like Rachel Ray. And whatever. And let me see what I would eat. Okay, so maybe it's not something that I would necessarily cook, but like mom influence in it. And it was just like a bowl of white rice, just like really steamed, nice, perfectly steamed white rice with like, it sounds gross, but it was like a fried egg on top. Like, I'm talking like over medium, perfect run, drippy drew, like you just chop it all up and you just eat it. And so that was like a snack, dinner, could be a meal, but that was like my go-to thing. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Sounds
So
weird, but
essentially-
it's really
Wait,
it's
tamago
really
egg.
good. You gotta try it.
That is so wild
You have to
because
try it.
my first ever after school snack that I serve to the musicians, let's say, at my dream dinner party, which is a mishmash of all of the art on the plate, the art on stage, the art of each one of us just being the best dream dinner party hosts and guests that we can be. The first after school snack dish that I served for a musician at dream dinner party, physically in real life after lockdown, was the Japanese tamago rice, which is the melty, yolky, barely cooked egg all over that rice. So it's just wild that this is what I'm about. I'm about love and food and permission and I'm about love and food, permission and pleasure.
Yes.
So I have to ask, what is your love food connection? Like, why don't do those two things, and and with it hospitality and the taking care of one another?
Yeah. Wow. Food is so complex. Like there's just so many different layers to it. It's layers of love. It's not just one big love. It's so many different layers. And I think for me, like, especially with just like how I work, it's really just connecting to the people that you're serving, that I'm cooking for. It's like, just how can I reach your heart? You know, whether it's like making you a grilled cheese, like if that's what I'm gonna do, I will make you the best grilled cheese. It doesn't have to have like 6 different cheeses in it. It can just be like really, really simple. So it's really just about like getting to know the people that I'm around and giving them what makes them feel like they're at home. Like that's just my biggest thing. I like to feel like I'm literally someone's like mom or grandma, like just like chopping in the kitchen. That's me. I'm not a fancy chef. I told Jack, I was like, I'm not fine dining. I'm not that. I'm just like, I'm like mom in the kitchen, chopping up some stuff.
It just feels like the perfect moment to put this out into the world and to inspire people to actually think about what they're eating and to think about everything that goes into all the dishes that they eat and all the restaurants that have brought all their friends together like they did when I was young, like they've done at all my birthday parties, like they've done at all the events, you know, I've been to. And I think it's so important to show appreciation for all that.
In my childhood, my parents didn't say I love you, instead they just fed me food. And so food was my first ever love language. So all my life I was like, wait, I really love a dinner date, but it's not about the dinner date, it's about the feeling of the romance of a dinner date. So that was my grown-up version of that sexiness of food and love. And really, I just learned about the feeling of hunger as a privilege, because when you're not well, you don't get to be hungry, and I saw my mom get less and less well and less hungry. So when I feel hungry and want to get out of bed in the morning to be in conversation with you two and to have the food and drink we get to have together and make for one another, that is my favorite goddess damn feeling in the world as the dining dominatrix here to spoil you all with food, love, permission, pleasure.
So first of all, not a lot of people know this, but the restaurant industry is the hospitality industry. So service is number one, and how you treat people and how you make people feel is what will get them to come back. And I think obviously food is amazing and we come to eat, but how you make people feel and how you treat people is what gets them back into the door. So I think what I've learned most about interviewing all these chefs is that it's how you treat people and the service you provide, and knowing your concept and knowing what you stand for as a restaurant is what gets people coming back. My book spread a message not only to end food waste and to respect restaurants and everything that goes into it, but to honor owners, honor chefs, and to really inspire people to become entrepreneurs, to become owners.
Jack has to say about food waste, I think it's out of control. I have like this like mini composter on my kitchen counter, like composting things, making soil, all of that stuff. So definitely food waste. And then also just like finding more spaces or ways for chefs to just be like authentically themselves in the actual restaurant space, because they're tied up in the back, and maybe they might float around into the the dining area here and there. You might see the chef kind of just like on the line, but just finding more ways to incorporate the chefs and the people who are even on the line cooking into the actual dining space with the consumers and like the guests, like just creating more of a conversation that way. I think it would just be cool if like fine dining restaurants felt like just like big homes. Like I love a good house party or like food at a house. So I'm like, what if like fine dining could still be as rich and decadent in the taste, but still just give you a different feel when you walk in, like you might not have to wear a suit. You might not have to, have all of these different forks and knives and accoutrements. Like you can just go in and be like, I'm home. This is the same way that, restaurants are home for you. But what if we could just change what it looks like?
Absolutely, which of course that's what we're gonna play together. We're gonna create that. Yeah. What you just said makes so much sense, because here are the bookends of what I give a goddess damn about. On one hand, if the people in the world who have the resources, the money, the influence, the power to change the world are having something like a Soylent, or something where food is just sustenance, but not food is art, food is pleasure, food is taking care of one another, food is family, food is love, food is culture, food is flavor, food is the thing that's gonna heal us together. If we ignore food as as all of these things, then we miss out on a really, really big chance to actually make the right kind of impact in the world. That's what I believe.
It was a surprise birthday, and I was at a restaurant when I was like 10 years old, and it was at a Mexican cantina. My favorite restaurant in my hometown of Los Gatos, and it's called Pedro's. And I went there, and I was with all my friends, and I just realized in that moment that we literally wouldn't be having all this fun if we didn't have a table, if we didn't have food to eat, if we didn't have all this in front of, like, it was the restaurant's initiative that brought us together. There was no other thing that brought us together besides the restaurant and besides the food in front of us. We were sitting at a table. It was the table that brought us together. And I recognized that at 10 years old, and I realized there's something special about sitting around a table and enjoying food together. The restaurant industry really connects people, and I think it deserves to be spotlighted more.
Buy fine dining and watch Food and Justice. May 21, 2022, I called it. I manifested it. It's in the universe.